Okay, so we'll get into module 1 or week 1, depending on whether you're online or within the coaching. So ultimately, again, we're going to go through a bit of an introductory to UPG, the team, and it'll be great for you to jump into UPG.social and introduce yourself if you're doing this online, or this will be interactive on our online sessions, our group sessions, if you're involved with the coaching now. From there, we're going to really give you the understanding of just the landscape in general, with the way business is changing, the jobs. I suppose give you an example of what is available to you in terms of new web spaces, the tools that are available for you to operate your business in the current day and age. And ultimately, once you've got a bit more of that understanding and really look at an abundant mindset as well to, lift any caps that you might be putting on yourself or what's potential, is go deep into those purpose and passions, not in a little, fluffy sort of ways. Really go deep into that and allow you to find some answers through that clarity tool, and then give you some actionable steps straight away that is more in terms of, regardless of where you fit into this, there's going to be that network of people that you want to be surrounding yourself with to help you to evolve your life into, whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve, and again, depending on how you fit in as well. So going into it, Unified Purpose Global. So you have UPG.social. You should be viewing this information within UPG.social. It's a social learning marketplace. It's our flat 2D component to what we're doing, but it's connected to the 3D environments and everything else we've got mapped out for implementation in terms of the new forms of spaces, and as you learn as you go through this program, the new type of internet or web protocols that are in place, which is going to completely transform the way that we're viewing and absorbing information, much like the Gutenberg moment, who created the printing press and completely changed how we absorbed information and different experiences that came from that. So you'll see a lot of ecosystem and technology and what we're building, combining those two scenarios, and ultimately you can go to those right now, or you're already in UPG.social, but as we go through this process, go and check out some of the spaces in Unified City and start to identify and see for yourself how you can either participate in the social experiences, in interactions, or even in the marketplace yourself when it comes to your own business and representing even if it's just e-commerce dropshipping site or podcast or whatever that might be. So we'll go more into that, but Buckshot, aka, or Ken Blake, aka Buckshot, some of you viewing this may know, look, Buckshot, fantastic person in general, business machine or monster, as I'd like to call him. But he is a secret tech head. A lot of people know him from being a well-known rapper from Duck Down, having 30 years experience in the entertainment and music industry. But he's a co-founder with myself, the connector in UPG. Been a very creative process we've been going through. No VC support, but definitely a lot of support from those that want to hang out with me. All right, I'll just play this out.
Check it out. Come be with me. Millionaires and billionaires in a room. You don't get with them, you can't be with them. Period.
UPG is Unified Purpose Global. And what it is a platform for people to come together.
The guy knows everybody.
Paulie,
he knows all the celebrities,
real estate guy.
hip-hop. But his big movement is Unified Purpose Global.
UPG.social. And that stands for Unified
Big in the
Purpose
film business.
Global. These boys are uniting and unifying the world's talents globally.
UPG.social.
10K cards.
Unified Purpose Global and Clem Baker
Sales
are
Angel.
two of the best names within the
Unified Purpose Global platform, providing a platform
Mark
for
Anthony
kids
Bates
to take back their power,
Coach
their
of
control.
coaches.
To make sure everybody checks out UPG.
I think this movement is
Diamond Diva.
absolutely amazing.
Shout out.
Get in seats where that money is. Come hang out with me, okay? UPG.social. Let's go.
Great. So there's more in the network, and look, we will be bringing those in for special events and whatnot, and content to help, educate you, give you access to these sort of people, and ultimately moving forward, to myself, being one of the co-founders, there's a lot of synergies there between, Buckshot and myself to help just basically, long story short, bring up people and give access to the opportunities. And for me, it sort of aligns to parents purpose-driven parents. I'm a single father of 2 kids and concerned about their future, wanting to have a stable, sustainable, secure and access to opportunity future for myself, regardless of whether I'm around as well. So, that's what's driving me. A bit about the background, a lot in sales and marketing, business development, honed in on that skill, as what I call myself, the connector, doing a lot of sales, door knocking, over the phone, high ticket offers. But ultimately, a lot of the epiphanies and answers came to me after I took an investment company. We built a stock market software public. It was promised by the capital people that they'd raise a lot of money, and they didn't. I had to raise it myself. Lucky we were an investment company and had those leads and people around us. But ultimately, we did end up bringing in a small fund, and ultimately that helped significantly with the demise of the company. So look, after that happened, I was looking for answers, working with a education technology, helping curb the influence that the internet was having over children, and at the same time just going deep, personally looking for answers, and that's sort of what this process with the Future You is designed to help you to be able to do, whether you've had some really difficult times, and that's really, I suppose, when you're going deep to find those answers. But did a lot of courses around like marketing where you didn't need many staff and automation, and was looking at AI and stuff like that. And it just sent me down a rabbit hole around the different technologies, business innovation. At the same time, the role with the education company, it was ridiculous how they weren't able to keep up and implement a technology that was so much needed to help them guide children psychologically, but also just with their education and attention in general, and communication between parents and teachers and whatnot. So ultimately, it was a bit depressing working in that role when I was looking at how fast things were moving with technology. So I actually did the Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi and become, a certified knowledge broker, which we'll talk about. It's one of the actionable first steps going through this program, because regardless, you can exchange knowledge, do interviews, podcasts, and build a community and network to support whatever journey and pathways that you're going to take. So, and in our opinion, the education system and that method of education, self-education, is going to be in addition. I don't think it's going to replace the school systems, but if we can empower parents and the youth coming up to learn that process on top of the fundamentals of what they're learning in school, then they're able to keep up with these opportunities. So I've already touched on that in the EdTech role. Basically, I've already touched on a little bit of this, but for myself, as I go through this journey with you, I'm growing and evolving. I've got my expertise and my experiences, and we've developed this system together to ultimately grow with you, but give you everything that we've learnt, and certain select people in our network that have, like the Mark Anthony Bates, for example, coach of coaches, to get, just the behind the scenes guidance, and potentially have him come in and contribute some content and guidance to you guys. But ultimately, the outcome is for you to be able to come in, sit back and reflect, design your life through that network. And Buckshot will say that network is your net worth, and he'll touch on leverage over loot and different ways to negotiate those situations, and not just think about the bread and the money. It's about thinking long term and certain strategic moves, etc. But again, ultimately, regardless of where you fit, we've got a place for everyone. Long story short, even if it's there just to socialise and have experiences, partner programs, building, contributing to projects, etc. But ultimately, instead of what I used to bang on a lot about in terms of setting up an impact fund and handing out money to help the disbursement of wealth, and that's the major thing here as well. It's ridiculous how wealth is dispersed, and there's, as I said, huge opportunities with technologies in Web3. So the whole goal is to have this learning academy helping with all these pathways to not be handing out money, have people go through the process, and then be able to support them with investment arms to what we're doing in UPG, and ultimately, look at some of the ethics with, as I said before, this with technology. There's been some potential negative impacts from the internet, the way we're communicating, the way kids are bullying and viewing, not so appropriate content for their ages. But, we want to support purpose-driven, positively impacting projects and ethical projects as well. So a couple of inspirations, and I'll probably suggest the two books I would suggest out of these, most of you should be familiar with Think and Grow Rich. I'll touch on a bit of that in a second and how that connects to Bold. Bold's a fantastic book, Peter Diamandis. You can see a similarity or the exact same words of what we've got as a slogan for this program: go big, make an impact, and create wealth. Now, it's got a great summary, and I'm going to explain a little of that in a second about the modern ways of entrepreneurship, taking into consideration a couple of the biggest innovative consultancy and education platforms today. A couple of extra books that you may want to go digging into, but we've incorporated some of that knowledge within, you know, the Web3XO consultancy and information that you're going to see, and you'll see within this program we've condensed down some of the most important business 101, marketing 101 from, you know, .com and expert secrets. The expert secrets you'll see in this first week or the first module in regards to some of the actionable steps for you to be able to take regardless of your history, background, experiences in life. But I'll touch a bit more on those two top books in a second. I've already explained some of the courses when I was doing the epiphanies myself, having those epiphanies, did the Singularity University, exponential thinking, back sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Open ExO, a partner program of ours, and then Rich Dad, just basic entrepreneurs program. The main ones there for me anyway were Knowledge Broker Blueprint and Open ExO. You'll learn why as we go through this process. Kent Langley, you can see from Open ExO here, there's been myself, and you'll learn throughout what we're going to do in this module about the knowledge business, and you can see the interviews that I was doing to build the network of people that can support the mission within UPG, going to the end of the roadmap of, you know, building smart, sustainable cities, and showing, teaching in and additional programs as we get to that point in our roadmap, how you yourself can potentially structure property development deals with different technologies, tools, and processes, and again, the, you know, with the HSTP protocols and whatnot. But there's a variety of things. If you're more creative, even the VR broadcasting, that's something that's part of, obviously, with Buckshot and his experiences in music and entertainment. These are the things that we're looking at to incorporate in the city, apart from things that has happened over the last 2 years. It's a bit old, but you get a little bit of a drift, and you'll see how that ties in. Just a bit of a snapshot of the people that will be inviting in with UPG to contribute in a more like the frameworks of everything we've got going on here is designed for people to come on and put on top, and then for the community, the crowd, i.e. yourself, to be able to build the profiles of the people and attribute them for their contributions to our unified purpose global, where we need this knowledge, we need skills, we need to still not just have YouTube or AI providing all this information. Human interaction is going to be critical, because humans are the one coming together to build projects. So we'll invite all these particular experts in from a content perspective, teachings, consultancy, and then building projects. Obviously, you know, AI 721, and you can go and search for those yourself. In this module, I'm going to show you how I built this network on LinkedIn through some particular tools, and how you can design your life through, at least build that network, whether you want to look at it in that lens through that process. But when you do get to a point of Web3 exponential organization, you want to build a project. I just wanted to introduce Fabricio Gmolio. He's our chief advisor, chief trainer. We'll have other, as you saw before, there's tons in the Open ExO. We'll have an API from UPG.social to the marketplace and content that's being produced from a separate platform. I'll give you a bit of education while I'm on it. That's a leveraged asset in terms of community, different tools that just helps UPG move faster to be able to serve the people we want to serve, i.e. yourself. So, you know, different ways. Maybe back in the day you might have said, I don't want to co-compete, I don't want someone else's branding on my thing. You'll learn through the models themselves and the way that IP can be exchanged. And again, that comes back to an enterprise thinking. You've got your core model, you've got other business methodologies, i.e. ExO, there's lean stack development. Fabricio's done a ton. I'm going to play his video from an introduction to the Web3XO content. Here
Yeah, thank you, Dan, and thanks for inviting me to be part of your project. It's very nice to be here. So about me, I'm a long-term guy in tech. Started my journey in 2000, joining the W3C in different groups. So I had the opportunity to talk and work with different international companies. At the moment, as you can see, my background is in innovation. I am also a global master of singularity university, an ExO certified consultant and trainer, and also have different certification from different technology institute, for example, MIT. I had also my TEDx, I'm pretty proud of it, and I'm also an expert evaluation for the European Commission for grants in innovation. I work, as I say, with a lot of different companies in my life, jumping from Microsoft to space, and jump all around the world to work with this company. So this is about me.
Beautiful. So something just to take note of if you are wanting to build a business idea, just came to my mind in terms of the grants that are available. I know in Australia there's innovation grants and to help with that initial funding as well. That's something that we can do. Now, obviously, there's a whole platform, these people being invited, the whole network we're building. But long story short, what we've got as a solid backup as well is an outsourcing facility with my good friend Tony Fawaz, who also, I think, will be providing some content in terms of for entrepreneurs. He's definitely, actually through my tough times, he was who I was working with in the education role. You can see we were going on the news, and you can see the headline there, protecting children in the digital age, and we got traction. But long story short, he helped me through that. He's been a friend of mine for 20 years, seasoned CEO, Australian in the Philippines for the last 10 years, and the Philippines is a great place because they've been connected to the internet long enough where their skills now have, the youth have been on the internet and their skills have really come up. But the cost base, the opportunities we can provide over there from development, marketing, content creation, virtual assistants, bookkeeping, all that stuff. So we've got that as a backup, and it's definitely assisting UPG in what we're doing in terms of development with the rest of our team. And anyone that goes through the Web3XO process, and there's going to be scenarios where you leverage staff on demand, you don't get long-term contracts. There's going to be some, you might want to have that scenario in terms of what's needed as a solid foundation for your business and to keep that cost base down. But long story short, Tony will come in and introduce some more content as we go through Future You, and we'll touch more on that in terms of if you proceed into, the business side of things with what we're doing. So I'm going to move on to